Next up in our review is Georgia Tech taking down number 12 Clemson 27-24 in what was an incredible game with Georgia Tech kicking the game-winning field goal in a fire drill situation to win that ball game to a 50-plus yard kickoff. What was it, 57?
55 or 56.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Whew.
An incredible ball game we had at noon yesterday. Let's go over the highest graded players, starting off with Georgia Tech. Their highest graded player was, of course, their quarterback, Haynes King. We'll talk about him later. 90.2 grade for him in the victory. Isaiah Kenyon, the wide receiver, 73.6. Also with the 73.6 is the D tackle, Jason Moore. Eric Rivers, another wide receiver, 71.5. E.J. Lightsey, a linebacker, 67.8. And another linebacker at number 5 in Kyle Efford with a 66 grade. Let's go over to Clemson with their highest graded players in the loss. Highest graded player for the Tigers was wide receiver Bryant Westco Jr., 82.1. Avion Terrell, the cornerback, 81.4. Defensive tackle DeMonte Capehart, 78.5. Edge rusher Will Helt, 77.7. Another edge rusher in TJ Parker, who many people think could be a top 10 pick in the draft, 70.4. And Kade Clubnik was still a solid performance, but not enough, with a 77.6 grade in the loss for Clemson. Dalton, for you, what told the story in Clemson's second loss already of the season?
Let's just say what we've seen through 3 games. This Clemson offense as a whole is average. They are not explosive. Their offensive line is below average. My stat that tells the story in this game, 3 plays in this game for Clemson that gained at least 20 yards. Just 3. They only have 11 plays of at least 20 yards through 3 games. 5 of those were against Troy, 3 against LSU, 3 against Georgia Tech here. And you look at those 3 drives, and you look at Clemson, it's too plodding. The 3 drives that they got a 20-plus yard play on, right? You had the Adam Randall 3rd and 22 carry before halftime, and Clemson scoring on their first touchdown drive. You have the Josh Sapp 33-yard catch on a perfectly thrown corner route. That drive got inside the Georgia Tech 10, and then Kade Clubnik threw an interception. And then obviously you had the Bryant Westco, 75-yard touchdown. Other than that, than those 3 plays, Clemson, it's just not explosive. And Georgia Tech is able in this game to just drag them into that mud fight that they want, right? 24-21. Georgia Tech winning time of possession, running the ball, winning the game 4 yards at a time. That's Georgia Tech style. The entire idea behind this Clemson offense, and I know Antonio Williams is hurt, was that they were explosive, and they had Clubnik, and they had these receivers, and they were going to sling it downfield. And last year, Clubnik was one of the best vertical passers in the country. It's just not there. It's just they're not an explosive offense. 74th in the country in explosive pass rate. They are right at the national average with 15.2%. 111th in explosive run rate. And Clubnik has most of those explosive runs himself. And their offensive line, once again, was extremely mediocre in this game. They are 98th in the country through 3 weeks in the offensive line PFF grade. This right now, as it stands, and do they have time to recover? Yes. They need to win 9 in a row. It's that simple. It's that simple for Clemson. They have to come out and win 9 in a row or they're not going to the playoff, or at least outside chance 8 in a row, I think it is, in the ACC. Make the ACC title game, see where it goes like last year. But if your path to the playoff this early is already the same as it was last year, where they had to win the ACC title game against SMU, dangerous. This is not great. And this offense has been extremely average, and they're not explosive. I've watched this Clemson offense now, out of the 12 quarters they play maybe 2 or 3 consistently good quarters of offense. Probably the second half against Troy and the second quarter of this game. And that's it. Otherwise, it's mistake-filled, it's not explosive, and they are just not right. They need Antonio Williams back in the worst way. They need to find a way for this offensive line to play better, or we're not even going to be anywhere close to talking about them winning the next 8 or 9 games.
No. And my stat is really the same thing. It's negative 0.042 EPA per pass for Clemson. So hand up, listen, I was wrong on this Clemson passing attack. And I had Clemson, of course, winning the national title preseason. Now they're 1-2 to start the season, so it doesn't look great for me right now. But Clemson has been negative in EPA per pass in every single game this year, whether it be LSU, whether it be this game against Georgia Tech, or whether it even be the Troy game last week. They only had 2 games last year where they were negative in EPA per pass. And I can't even really blame Kade Clubnik for this. He's playing as well as you could hope for from him. Honestly, an 83.7 passing grade in this game. Of course, there's still some throws he's got to hit. He's not playing perfect ball so far, but I think it has more to do with the receiving core, more to do with the offensive line, more to do with just not having much of a run game to rely on either. And defenses can just sit back in quarters coverage or deep coverage and just not let up these explosive passes from Clemson. They badly miss Antonio Williams right now. His 62.8 receiving grade in this game, sub 65 receiving grade in every single game this year. Offensive line, sub 70 pass blocking grade for the third straight time too. This offense is just way, way, way too reliant on Kade Clubnik to save them right now. They're asking Kade Clubnik to be, hey, you're the number one quarterback in the country. Go prove it. Go win this game basically by yourself. You can't ask any quarterback in America to do that. And Clemson's basically asking that of Kade Clubnik right now. Now, of course, again, he's not been perfect. I'm not saying Kade Clubnik is playing great football right now. But what I am saying is that there's way, way too much pressure on him in this offense with that receiving core, without Antonio Williams not playing very well at all, the offensive line not playing very well at all, and the run game is basically non-existent right now for Clemson too. It's a little bit better in this game, but overall, this Clemson offense, I think, is way too reliant on their quarterback in Kade Clubnik. And yes, I do think he's a very good quarterback, but I don't think he's one that can be a Cam Newton who can carry your entire team to a national title basically by himself. I don't think he's that special. Clemson needs more from the rest of their offense right now, and they don't really have it.
You said it exactly perfect. Is he playing reasonably well? Yes. Maybe up to our Heisman expectations? No. But when you're asking a quarterback to be perfect, look at the teams right now that are winning, and they're not asking their quarterbacks to do that, right? You think about, I even think about, let's go even to a young guy like Julian Sayin at Ohio State. They're not asking him to carry that, right? Garrett Nussmeier is not playing perfect football. And LSU, if you told me LSU's offense, and we're going to get into this, and I know Brian Kelly's sick of the question, but if you're going to get in, like LSU, they're not playing great offense, but Garrett Nussmeier has not been perfect, and they're undefeated still, right? You think about Gunnar Stockton. Yes, there were moments where he had to pick the team up, but you're also going to see later this year with Georgia where, okay, this is not the Gunnar Stockton game. It's the defense. It's Nate Frazier. This Clemson team has no other answer.
Yeah.
They have no other. Their defense has played solid football through 3 weeks, right? Yeah. They only gave up 17 to LSU. They only gave up 24 in this game, but you're still asking Kade Clubnik to go out there offensively and be perfect. They have time to figure this out. They're playing Syracuse, they're playing North Carolina, they're playing Boston College the next 3. They need to figure this out by the time they get to SMU and Florida State and Louisville, because this is right now, call it what it is, this is an extremely average offense, and they're not explosive enough, and to me, that's the biggest reason that they couldn't take advantage of a relatively average Georgia Tech secondary.
So, you and I usually try to do different things for the most impressive part of the game, but both of us had to go with the other quarterback in this game, Haynes King, for just willing this team once again to a victory.
No, but and look, there's some good candidates. There's certainly Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt is up there. There's some good candidates for this award, but nobody wills their teams to wins on their back more than Haynes King. I mean, it's just a ridiculous 87 passing grade, 75 rushing grade, made big throws when they needed him to, got first downs with his legs when they needed him to. It is just, I was honestly worried about Georgia Tech late in the third quarter in this game because it looked already like Haynes King was running out of gas. I think he played most of the second half of this game at about 80%. I don't know if that lower body injury is still bothering him or he was just out of gas because he's trying to carry this team. The one concern I would have is that if Georgia Tech is asking him to do that every single week, but you're talking about, look, a big road win at Colorado that was a hotly contested game and they made him a lot of mistakes early in that game. And then this Clemson upset. And what is it? Georgia Tech now under Brent Key has won 7 out of 8 games against ranked ACC opponents. That's ridiculous. And you just hope for their sake that Haynes King doesn't run out of gas before the season ends. And obviously he dealt with injuries last year. But Georgia Tech getting this win, boy, they got to be feeling pretty good about their stand. All these other teams in the ACC, when we came into this year feeling like Clemson was the prohibitive favorite, look at what Miami's doing. Look what Florida State's done so far. Louisville looks good. Georgia Tech looks good. I think Clemson and Duke are really, of course, the two teams I picked for the ACC title game. They're the only two teams that have really faltered through 3 weeks, right? So, I mean, you're looking at the rest of this, and Georgia Tech does not have the most brutal schedule. They got through their hardest game of the season this week. Now all of a sudden you feel like, okay, if Haynes King can just stay healthy, look what he can carry them to. We've seen this before. We saw it last year, the upset over Miami, the near upset over Georgia, now this against Clemson. Haynes King just puts his team on his back when it matters most. I think they need some games here in between where he doesn't have to do that, but they're a darn good football team, man, and Brent Key just has them playing to their identity every single week.
I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback in college football history like this guy, but he's kind of like the modern-day Tim Tebow, where it's like this dude is going to will his team on his back to win every single time.
There's not a tougher player in college football than Haynes King.
I would agree with that. He looks exhausted after every game, but I think he is the toughest player in college football. 87 passing grade, 20 for 28, 211 yards, big-time throw, no turnover-worthy plays. Also ran for 104 yards and a touchdown on 24 attempts in this game, too. Another 6 first downs on the ground. He's the definition of a warrior, man. He's the most impressive part of this game. I do want to shout out Brent Key, though, because Brent Key, what he's done with this program after taking it over in 2023, or really 2022, has been incredible. So Jeff Collins, when he got fired, Jeff Collins went in his last 4 years, or really his only 4 years, 3-9, 3-7, 3-9. Then he started off 1-3 before he was fired. Brent Key took over. The rest of that season in 2023, they had a 4-4 record under Brent Key. So you saw encouraging signs from him. After that, 7-6 and 7-6. Now they're 3-0 right now. This is a program that was going consistently 3-9 for 4 straight years under Jeff Collins. Now under Brent Key, this is at least a 7-win program. And this year, it could be a lot more than that too. It's done an incredible job of turning around this Georgia Tech program. And now all of a sudden, we'll get to my top 25 later. I have Georgia Tech, I think, in my top 15 right now. This looks like a legitimate contender to maybe win the ACC and maybe even crash the 12-team college football playoff.
You want me to rattle it off real quick?
Yeah.
Temple, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pitt.
That's it?
Dude,
they might do it.
They might be. Listen, you got to win the games. But they're probably favored in all those games moving forward.
I didn't even know that.
You're sitting at a real scenario where...
So they avoid Florida State and Miami.
No Florida State, no Miami, no Louisville, no SMU.
Wow.
And then you look at what these teams... Wake Forest isn't great. Virginia Tech's 0-3. Duke's 1-2. Syracuse is Syracuse.
Jackass.
At NC State. And Boston College just lost to Stanford.
Yep.
And Pitt just lost to West Virginia. There's actually, like, Georgia Tech fans you want to get 2 months ahead of yourselves. There's a 10-1 or 11-0 maybe sitting in front of you going into Georgia.
I'm sure.
They get Georgia at home this year.
I'm sure Brent Key is telling his locker room right now, "Hey, one game at a time, 1 week at a time."
If anybody in the locker room says what I just said, he's going to hit him upside the head. But boy,
can you imagine an 11-0 Georgia Tech against Georgia?
11-0 Georgia?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Was that good old-fashioned hate? Is that what it's called? Right? Let's see.
Something like that. Yeah, right. That's it, right? Oh, boy, there will be plenty of it if they're both undefeated.
Clean old-fashioned hate is what the name of the rivalry is.
I mean,
that would be incredible.
I'm not saying they're going to do it because you got to win the games, but Georgia Tech's got a runway here already. They may have won before outside of the Georgia game. They may have won their 2 hardest games already. And I know Colorado's not great, but they played pretty good that night.
Yeah.
It was at Colorado week 1. Boy, Georgia Tech's got an opportunity in front of them because it shakes out a lot like SMU's schedule last year. Because SMU didn't play, like, other than Louisville, they didn't play any of the heavy hitters last year in their schedule during the season. Georgia Tech might be going down that path.
Brent Key is just going to stick Haynes King in an ice tub for 6 days out of the week.
Well, this was the idea. Last week they were playing an FCS team, and he sat him. And he was obviously sore from the week before. You almost wonder, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but you know what? You're playing Temple next week. If you can't beat Temple without Haynes King now, or do you maybe get that thing moving by halftime? And I think that's really the biggest question for me. Can you just keep Haynes King out there for all 12 games and healthy? Because last year he even played a few where the shoulder was bad. He basically couldn't throw. Yeah. There's an opportunity here for Georgia Tech.
Give him some icy hot, put him in bubble wrap, whatever you got to do to keep that guy healthy, because Georgia Tech could be in store for a magical 2025 season with that schedule and with a massive win over Clemson, 24-21. All